It's you up to you, George.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
Of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just Bruce is, everyone else.
Great, thank you very much. I guess the minutes have been sent by email electronically. I think we last time voted that we will no longer get paid for copies of email, so hopefully people are here with that, and hopefully people have a chance to read it. And if so, I need a motion to cut the minutes.
So,
Thank you, and I need a second.
second.
Fair enough. One, please say aye. Opposed? Abstention? Thank you very much. Thank you, Jerry, for doing the minutes.
Thank you.
Comments? You know? We're good. Anybody online? I can't tell. No, I'm so, all right. Treasure report.
Okay, I'm up. And I have a very short report. So our executive summary as of May 31st. Fiscal year to date, the town has received revenue of 53,886,893, or 104.8% of the total amount of 51,440,042 budgeted for fiscal year 25. And comparing our performance to last fiscal year, we are 0.3% ahead of this time last year. Next, we will move to the authorized investment section. As of the end of May, the town had 31.9 million in its bank accounts. In the last month, the stiff rate stayed steady at 4.48, and today it is at 4.38. And Webster, as you know, gives us the stiff rate in arrears, and their rate last month was 4.51. Any questions there? Okay, on May 31st, we had another treasury bond come due, and we reinvested into another short-term treasury bond. We purchased $2.325 million at a rate of 4.156% interest rate. It will mature on May 31 of 2026. With interest and income totaling $93,817 for a total of interest income coming from our short-term bond ladder for fiscal year 2026 of a total of $402,897. So that is for fiscal year 26. Any questions on that? Okay. So moving right along, we'll go down to the pension plan. So we received our report in May from Morgan Stanley. The town pension plan was up 7.06% fiscal year to date versus its benchmark of 8.60%. Over the 3-year horizon, the town plan has returned 7.07% versus its benchmark of 8.52%. Fire department pension plan is up 6.65% fiscal year to date and has returned 6.98% over the 3-year horizon versus its benchmark of 8.52%. So even in volatile markets in May, the pension plan did very well. So as of May 31, total cash balances were 31.9 million. Total pension balances were 30.7 million. So for my 4 years as treasurer, we had never been at 30 million in pension balance. So that was it's really showing how well the pension is being managed. So I was really excited to see that. For total assets under management of 62.6 million. So we'll move to any questions there. We'll move to page 2 of the treasurer's report. So tax revenues were 142,903 for the month. bringing the fiscal year to date total to 50,356,775, or 102% of the amount budgeted for fiscal year 25. We received $98,861 of LoSAP money from the state and $11,821 of special ed money from the state. Any questions there? Okay. In terms of local revenues, the town collected $255,450 locally, for a total of $509,034 in local revenues, for a total of $53,886,893, or 104.8% of our fiscal year 25 budget. So far for fiscal year 25, we have a surplus of $2,446,851. And that's all I have so far. Any questions?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Yes. So, just under state revenue
Mm-hmm.
on that page, no. It's for the board,
Right.
I'm not,
I know that.
and, last year, as you can see, year-to-date receipts were 820. Although that included the special ed, so were we expecting more special ed this year?
That's kind of low for special ed,
Yeah.
and we usually do get the monies in at the end of the fiscal year, and they go towards the Board of Ed budget. Not our, that doesn't come into the general fund coffers, that'll go against the surplus for the Board of Ed.
But the amount of, money does vary year to year. Now, like CCM and cost, Council of Small Towns, after they do the budget, even after they voted on it, they say, they give us a spreadsheet and say, this is what Saybrook's gonna get, and every other time. We don't always get that amount. We frequently get more. Sometimes we're like, where did that come from? And it just came, so, just wanna make a note on that, but, for fiscal 26, we are projected under the budget to get about $60,000 more than this year. Or under one of the categories, under one of the, it's called, Town Aid Road, TAR, it's called. It's basically, the state bonds this money, even though it's really operating that money that they're giving to this town, so it's not a good thing. One other comment, under local revenue, recording fees, you could see the period receipts were $50,000. We had a $6 million sale in North Cove. And I remember Sarah Becker walked in one day and she's like, big day today collecting, and it was,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, it's the house, Bill DeBella's old house. I don't know if any of you knew that, in North Cove, sold for about 6 million. And, so she took in a pretty good chunk of change just based on that. So, because of the conveyance fee. So that's it, just. Obviously over collecting, our 99%, we're over collecting on that. The good news there is, look, we had rebound last year and a lot of people saw an increase in their property taxes, and I will tell you, it is causing, I'm not saying it didn't cause some issues in our town for people with their house values going up, and even with the mill rate coming down, there may have been an increase, a disproportionate amount of increase in residential taxes because commercial did not go up as much as residential in reval. But there are towns that are categorized as distressed municipalities pursuant to a state measure. And a lot of towns are really struggling with this, like a town like Torrington, Hamden is struggling with it. They're basically a distressed municipality, Torrington too, but their property value still went up a boatload. And they're having trouble. Some of the resident, there's been a lot of protests about the budget and, there should be more cuts and, there's been a lot of budget trouble in a lot of towns across the state over the last 2 years as a result of mandatory revals that have occurred because the burden fell on residential property because of the housing shortage and just values, but so.
No rich.
Mill rate goes down, but the mill rate goes down, but the town is still collecting the same amount of taxes and the burden has now shifted more to residential. It doesn't mean your taxes go down on your, and they don't even go down on your vehicle anymore because we've gone to the MSRP. So yeah, the mill rate goes down, but even if the budget goes up 2%, if the tax base has shifted to the residential side and the budget only goes up 2%, but your house has gone up 60% in value. In Torrington, I was hearing stories from Mayor Carbone, just row houses on their street have gone from 300 to 700,000, and these people aren't prepared. I mean, a lot of these folks aren't prepared for that. So it's been a little bit ugly out there last year and this year, and I'm thankful. I take nothing for granted. I mean, we should take nothing for granted. But we're very lucky to have our tax collection rate. And we prove it year after year. I mean, I think our budgets have been good budgets over the years, but our property values went up a lot last year. I'm gonna stop right there.
I would just like to tell you that I saw on television last week in Torrington, a family's reval went from 70,000 to 177,000. And it cost them $2,200 more in taxes and they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, they can't afford that.
20
And that's funny, you saw that in Torrington.
Yeah,
And a lot of towns are actually phasing in, I don't know how they do this. Hamden is trying to phase in their reval increase over 4 years. Torrington is doing it over 2 years. I know that for a fact. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that, but we don't. Anyway,
I bet Leanne knows.
It's mathematical.
Anyway, so, I see that collection rate and we're very fortunate. Let's just leave it at that and not make any other, I don't have to make any other comments on that.
Any other questions?
We also had a lot of commercial come into town.
Yeah, I mean, the grand list went up. But even Torrington and even here, the property tax, the property tax base shifted to residential. So residential values went up 60%, 70%, commercial went up 15 to 20%. There's just a shift, just is. In 2018, I think commercial went up 10%, residential went down 18%. The mill rate went from like 15 to 21 that year. So we went up like 6 points that year. It's just, and now we're back down to 15, with our reval, it went back down. So but there's been a confluence of events over since COVID that has led to some, I'll just say, I think there are distortions in the market in terms of property values. So.
Just a couple of things. I mean, I'm actually surprised that there were not more people complaining or asking for reassessment of their taxes, because based on the early analysis we did when the mill rate first came out, or that reassessment, right? All the people's.
No, and then very few, and most of them were commercial. Very few were residential.
Yeah.
And we've settled most of our commercials. They're already done in the books.
I'm surprised because the commercial ones were, like you said, in the low teens at best, right?
We get frequent flyers. Every reval,
see.
you get the same. CVS, Kohl's, Plaza, that whole thing. So.
Can I ask a couple questions? Other questions? So the special ed, so right now, you're saying we're about 147,000 short for last year. Is it because you're anticipating more coming in?
147,000 short of, last year's, state receipts.
Yeah,
I think we're still gonna get another we are gonna get, I think I saw another ECS,
I see.
payment come in for 30,000, and we might get some more special ed. The shared services, one, we didn't get anything in this year, we got 200,000 last year, and they just canceled that program, the state did. And they just sent us out a memo and said, we're not gonna get anything. So that's what Carl was talking about, like,
Yeah.
sometimes we get stuff more than we expect, and sometimes we don't get anything.
The special ed, I've been worried about that for quite a while. The way they calculate it is 4.5 times your per pupil cost and so on. Also, pupil cost keeps going up, and so when you go 4.5 times that, right, it becomes a ridiculous number. At some point, we're gonna basically price ourselves out of.
They funded more special ed this year, 80 million more, but it went to like 10 towns.
Yes, but
Not, yeah, obviously not.
our math will never work out. When we have a decreasing student population, increasing school budget, the per student 30,000 times 4.5 becomes 120,000 base that you gotta beat. And then they'll pay you, right? That's crazy. Can I have another question? So when you were talking about the 2026 interest,
Yes,
that would not be, the bonds, that would not be on this page, right?
no,
Okay, is there a way we can track that somewhere else? I mean, I appreciate what you said, and I also to go back and listen to it from the recording, but,
Mhm.
We do track it, I mean, it's not gonna show up
On the
in one
paper,
of these
yeah, yeah.
reports,
Yeah.
but it's something that Barbara keeps track of, and
Yeah.
I keep track of, speaking,
Right.
as we're getting
Sure,
ready
sure.
to do our budget for 2027, by that point, putting monies away there, so, we did talk about it when we were putting this budget together, we said, okay, we have about, 400,000 locked
Already.
in, I think it was for fiscal year 26 of our, whatever we settled on, $850,000 budget.
Yeah,
for
right,
interest
okay.
income.
okay. All right, great, thank you. Yeah, but just one last quick comment, and so maybe it's semantics, but at this point, I mean, we have received more than what we budgeted by $2 million.
On the revenue side.
On the revenue side, we need a better word than that besides surplus, right? Because that's not, at this point, it's not a surplus, right? It's just
It's a revenue surplus.
that's fair enough, yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough, okay. I'm good, thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much, Barbara.
You're welcome. Thank you, George.
Treasury report?
Finance director.
Oh, I'm sorry, next
It's
one.
okay.
Oh, yeah, finance director report, thank you, I'm sorry.
I also want to point something out on the, revenue report under miscellaneous revenues. We usually don't have a high figure at 35,000. You're probably going to mention that, Barbara.
Yes, I apologize, I forgot.
That's okay. Two unique things. One-time $20,000 blight payment that we received. We typically, don't
Are we
receive-
allowed to ask where it came from?
Yeah, it came
Please.
from 124 Old Boston Post Road.
Oh, great.
that on your list. And the other one was, like $14,000 for our P card revenue, and that's the arrangement that we have with the state of Connecticut. We use their credit card program to buy as many of our things as we can on credit, and then they give us a rebate, so and that's typical, $15,000.
12 to 14, yeah.
Yep,
it's
Yeah,
in there.
14,000.
We put as many things as we can on there. One of the
Okay,
largest being our water bill.
yeah, right.
Connecticut Water allows us to pay by credit card, and so we do.
The fire hydrant.
Do we get like a
Yeah.
Like
percentage, do we
700,000.
get a percentage back?
Yeah,
That's what
fire
this
hydrant.
is?
Yeah, yeah.
It's always up. No, it's much higher than that. The water is,
6 or 700,000 or something. like that.
but Eversource will not allow us to pay by credit card.
Oh.
But the water company does. Anyway,
Okay, so surplus, right now, as the treasurer said, we have about $2.5 million in a revenue surplus. We'll probably have another $500,000 in revenues during this month of June before we close out the year. So projections for about a $3 million revenue surplus. And then overall with our expenditures, we usually, come in within $500,000-ish on the town side, so 3.5, and I don't know what the Board of Ed will do, but 3.5, 4 million total surplus is a projection. On page 2 of the finance director's report, for the month of April, in regards to ARPA, we spent, $6,000. And so we, spent almost, 2 million of our 3 million. We're gonna hear from Bill a little bit later, so we have a lot of things coming up for DPW equipment and DPW type work. That should get us, almost done very quickly with our ARPA funds. Then on, page 3, just what has happened since last month. The Board of Finance approved the $131,000 transfer from Chalker Mill Dam Fund to the Main Street Crosswalk project. We also had at that same meeting an approval of a town match for a steep grant coming out of capital non-recurring for 222,649, as well as the approval of the grant itself, 667,948, which is a reimbursable steep grant. On page 4 of the cash flow summary, the general fund is down 3.3 million, very typical. Expenditures less revenues. Capital funds up 32,000, with the majority of that in May and November is when we receive our WPCA benefit assessment payments. So they're coming in now, as well as a little bit in June, some in April. So this month 32,000. Under the reserve funds, that's up just under $1 million. We received from DEEP a $1 million reimbursement for our WPCA program. So that was good news for us. So we've kind of been waiting on that for like a year or so. And then there was nothing going on in the non-major funds. And in the capital outlays, which is down lower on the page, we're finishing up all of our named projects that were in the budget for fiscal year 25. And there's no other major movements in those categories. And then I wanted to go over, so I sent out the memo to all of the department heads regarding the $25,000 line item. And the last page of this report, there's just a couple. Let me go over first the budgets, the overall budgets that are going over their budgeted amount, and then I'll go over any line item issues. So ZBA, which is about a third of the way down, is at over about $4,000 or 129%, as previously discussed. That's due to legal issues, but again, large percentage, but in terms of dollar amounts, it's small. PD general expenditures is over about 30,000. That's at 105%. I will have some more comments on those. Waste collection, which is about a quarter up from the bottom, is over budget slightly. I think we have maybe one more payment to make. And again, the cost of waste has gone up, and so it's going to go over a little bit, but not materially. And then the parks is now 4 up from the bottom. That's over by just slightly, but like $1,000. That's 101%. I do expect that that's going to go up even more as we finish out the month of June, because this is prime time for taking care of our parks. Okay, so I sent out the email to all department heads with regard to any line item going over 25,000. That's why we have Bill Claffey here tonight to talk about his request for changing, for transferring monies into an off-budget fund. But we do, all other departments, except for the police department at this point in time, have not had a line item that has gone over 25,000. So I did reach out to Acting Chief Walsh, and he gave me some information to relay to the Board of Finance regarding his overages. So he is over on, PD field services additional hours by $42.4 thousand. And additional hours, they use this for casework and investigation. And he states that they've become more complicated, and that there's been some changes in legislation that requires them to be more timely. They have to go to court the next day, things like that. So when they're working on something, they have to step up to the plate and get it done. He also noted that there's been 7 officers that have turned over. And as they turn over, the caseload has to be given to somebody else, and it takes time to get up to speed. And they've also had a couple of very serious incidents that are very complicated. So that's the reason for the additional hours. Extra personnel, this is the line item that's used to backfill vacancies. As I mentioned, he had 7 employees that were turned over this year. And they need to wait until they're replaced, trained, and certified. And also that we've had, people out on workers' comp injuries, a vacant second in command. So there's been a lot of hours absorbed in the extra personnel. That budget is over $82,000. Professional development is over budget $55,000. And again, very similar, 7 employees transitioned out, 4 promotions, everybody needs to get trained. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Education budget is over $32,000. The line item for the police academy, this line item includes tuition for the police academy, EMT, EMR classes and recertification, as well as professional development class expenses, including travel, certifications, and with the recent promotion and hiring of candidates, this line item was affected this fiscal year, but as staff stabilizes, they would expect that line item to stabilize as well. I will also note that when we see these line items for extra hours and things like that go over, we generally see a corresponding amount of salary item that hasn't been used, and that is $492,000 of regular salaries that has not been utilized yet. At this point in time, we still have a payroll to pay, so that will also increase. Then in the PD general budget, repairs and maintenance is over $46,000. And he notes that the aging Tahoe fleet is starting to become a cost concern. They've made some changes with internal processes to reduce engine hours and keep costs under control. And then he notes that this line item is generally offset, when we do the private duty transfer. But we changed, he doesn't know this, but we changed that procedure to only top off the fuel line item. So that's probably something that's not going to get backfilled, and that will be a line item overage. And then the fuel line item is over $66,000 over. Again, we know about that one. We do that on purpose. And then that one will be topped off with the outside services monies. And that's all I have.
What's the total effect on the PD budget? Are they gonna be able to balance it out, or?
Well, again, we still have like 45 days to
Yeah.
go. Okay, so their total budget is 5.58 million. They've spent 4.9 million, and so they have about $628,000 left to spend.
They'll make it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, yeah, they're gonna make it.
So, go ahead.
No,
That's all.
So what I would say is, acting Chief Walsh has come in. I don't think he's making changes. I think he's kind of probably letting things run as they were being run. So I think those line items have continued to go over. We're in the midst of a lot of changes right now, right? So we are going to have a new chief let's say in office, I hope September 1, that's my hope. And that person will take a look at this budget and do what they need to do with it and see if they budget differently. You know, with the funding, so I would just say. That's a snapshot of, actually, I mean, that's not uncommon. We've seen that year over year over year with the overages in line items. So I don't know if that will change with new leadership or not. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it might. But it's just, I don't know that now is the time. I mean, it's interesting, but I don't know that now is the time to drill deep on it because we're in transition.
Yeah, made a comment about the police cars. When did those go into service?
I'd say about 3 years ago. I mean, we paid off the loan
Yeah.
last September, which would have been a 5-year loan. But remember,
Four?
4 year.
Yeah, 4 year.
thing, Carl. But remember with COVID and all that, it took so long to get the cars.
I'd
so-
say they're about 4 years because we paid off the loan last September. The cars are probably in their 4th year, something like that. On average, they were, like, one was deployed, another one was deployed. I mean, some of them were deployed for 8 months to a year almost. So,
That possibly could be reassessed after we get a new chief.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
yeah, I think it's up for grabs.
Well, the timing works.
But,
The timing works.
yeah, it kind of does. I mean, yeah.
Couple of questions, so, I forget, so going back a little bit, for the police cars, there's a new process we're gonna do where we're just going to deposit $90,000 from an account. Where is that showing up?
Like fiscal year 26 budget. So when, in a couple months, I'll be redoing the finance
Oh, I
structure
see.
report, you'll see it in there, and then we'll keep tabs on how much is in there.
So right now, that's not.
It's just not in, there's nothing in there right now.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have started.
Yeah.
Okay. Then on page 5 of the cap expenditures for the police department, the 89,800. You know, there any recollection?
Oh, 89,800, that was the last,
Payment.
payment.
Oh, it is for
Yeah,
the card.
yeah,
Okay,
it is
okay,
for the
perfect,
cards, yeah.
That's all right.
We just rounded it up to
Understood.
90,000.
Yeah, okay, so this is the last payment of next year.
Yeah,
Is it the end of the payments?
yes.
Okay,
We budgeted for next year, right?
We put it in the reserve.
We put it off budget
Off
because
budget.
we have no car payments, but we know we're gonna need cars eventually. So,
nice. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Thank you, Leah. Moving on, discussion and consideration of a $200,000 transfer for DPW. So, right.
just gonna quickly lay a little of the groundwork, so. All we're basically doing is, transferring from line items within the DPW budget to one line item. So Bill didn't spend money in many areas of his budget because unfortunately he was understaffed. That could be snow, it could be a variety of things. Where he didn't spend money, Bill is now asking, hey, can I spend this money somewhere else where we can do a lot of good locally? I've said from day one, we can never have enough money in paving. We could probably put another $2 million in paving every year. And we wouldn't have enough. So that is, I think, the essence of the request.
Yep.
And I can let Bill handle it from there, I think.
So we have, I'd like to put in paving and boost up on our infrastructure. Not only paving would that money go to, it would also go to the repair of catch basins, curving around town, sidewalks, the wear and tear items that don't always get seen. I mean, we have quite a bit of lists. We have a big list of catch basins that are in need of repair.
And we don't want this money to be surplus,
Yeah.
because we don't need it.
It's just a matter of, it's a busy time of year, so if, two guys in the sweeper doing catch basin maintenance, one guy in the roadside mower, there's just not enough manpower for us to be buying materials and going and attacking this. So. At the present moment.
Right, so the request is to move this and then we will, pay, contract, is that?
We will pay contractors for some,
Yeah, yeah.
and I mean, when we get caught up, then
I see.
we'll also add in on it.
Right.
So it's not all contractor work.
No, it's not all contractor work. Nope.
So
The
Bill's,
paving, obviously, yes, but I mean, on a regular basis, we repair basins, install pipes, road cross, everything.
Right, right.
so Bill's come to me a couple times and said, I need to get something, I need to get this done, and I can't do it. Can I get Jesse Dibble, Jesse Dibble or Duncan Downey to do, it needs to be done, I'm like, do you have room in your budget, just do it.
Yeah.
And one of the examples was Stoneboat Road, and I
Yeah.
mentioned that, explain what that was.
So for instance, I'm not sure when it was installed, but the pipe on Stoneboat Road, the drainage pipe is all rotten on the bottom. It's causing all the dirt to wash out and the road to cave in. So that pipe's in need of repair. At the entranceway of Stoneboat Road, same thing. It's that aluminum galvanized pipe. The bottom wears out, and if we have heavy rain, the water flushes out the fine sediment, cars drive over it and it sinks.
So where they replace it with type 40?
It would be the AST 35, the black pipe corrugated.
Those Corbin.
Yeah. I mean, you could have parked a Volkswagen in the hole in the beginning of Stoneboat Road from the cave in. And the asphalt holds it up, so you don't know that it's washing out until it's too late. So
How do you even know it was busted there?
it broke.
Oh.
On my way home, I looked in the side of the road, I said, what is that? Walked over there, so.
Huh, wow.
Please, have you been able to fill those two vacancies?
No, not at the moment, no. Nope. We've had people apply. Accept the job, never show up, never take my call.
Is it a salary, competitive salary situation? You're not competitive?
Oh, I think we're competitive, it's just the pool, I don't know, I mean, we had one guy come in who is in like the pipe fitters union. And he came in, he's like, yeah, I'm sick of working 12-hour days, 6 days a week. And I said, are you familiar with the maintainer 2 salary? Because he's like, yeah, well, I'm not totally familiar with it. And like, we offered him the job, but there's no way he's gonna take it. He was probably making 140,000 a year. And now he's gonna go to 55. And it's not worth the hours, the decrease in hours for him. So that was an odd application, I thought. But a couple guys, like Bill said, right now, we'll probably put it out again shortly to see if we get some new applicants.
I have 2 guys that say they're going to be turning in their application and they're good workers. So, but haven't seen it yet. But
How long have you been short, these guys? Since
about a year, I wanna say.
Just a year.
So it just, and I'm not afraid of work, it just gets very difficult when, you have to do that roadside mowing, you have to suck out those catch basins, that's the maintenance end, and then the repair end. Hey, we're gonna go out there today, I need a dump truck and an excavator, and we're loading truck, well, while you're doing that, how do I get the sump here? It's a lot of shuffling around of trucks.
Well, you've done a good job shorthanded, because the parks all look great.
Thank you.
Including the baseball fields, and I mean, it really did look,
Well, good.
really looked good this spring, all of them, including Trask, which is usually not a great baseball.
Glad to hear it,
So,
that's what I was shooting for.
yeah.
So.
Harvey's Beach parking lot, did you guys do that?
We had a contractor come in and take care of it,
Big improvement.
yeah.
I forgot to mention with the ARPA money, if the truck is sitting out in the parking lot, did you see that?
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love the color, wait.
We all get to drive it after.
Yeah.
Don't get a spin. So big.
I'm sorry.
So the mechanism would be if this board were to do this, it would still have to go to town meeting. So Board of Selectmen would call a town meeting in July, but we're comfortable, you know, we still have the ability post fiscal year to reallocate those monies before we officially declare our surplus and close the books.
So this wouldn't happen until what, July?
You know, I mean, I would call it town meeting, yeah, I mean, it would officially happen in July, that's correct, officially.
So I'd like to make a motion.
Well, I mean, I don't, yeah, I mean,
You're all right, George?
Absolutely.
To approve the transfer of 200,000 from the DPW general fund account 430100 to offset to off-budget paving and road maintenance fund 7,400 for the purpose of paving and repairing roads. Further, to move this motion appropriation to town meeting.
Need a second?
Second.
right,
So I was gonna ask some question before we,
Yep.
vote on the motion. So, I think that's what Brad was asking, right? So right now, it's about 20,000, so potentially it could be more if there's a bigger, okay, so is this the way we?
Gonna be close enough, right?
yeah, so
So,
Leanne ran the numbers through the.
I see, okay.
So, yeah, this is basically coming from the salary and benefit
I see,
line items.
okay.
It's about 200,000, so this budget is the administration budget.
I see,
Where all the
okay.
personnel and a few other things run through it. But when we were starting coming back to the $25,000 question, he was like, you know, well, I wanna buy all these things and this budget has money, so where can I put it? And I'm like, well, maybe this transfer would make more sense. All of his other budgets are pretty close to full, because, I discussed that with Bill, and he said that the vehicle maintenance, he's got some repairs that he's working on right now. Snow, I guess you pretty much used that up.
Yeah,
And
there's,
then the highway and streets, we transferred that whole thing off with the ARPA monies. I mean, do
Yeah.
you wanna comment on that?
no, that's correct.
So basically, it's coming from salary and benefits. There'll be money left over in his budget, but not much.
I was gonna say, there are, we might just keep adding to this, right?
Yeah, well, 200,000 is a safe number.
I see, okay.
I'm probably conservative. I'm sure he'll have money left over.
Okay.
You have I don't wanna mention any names or anything, but there's an employee missing at the transfer station.
2 employees. So that's been the other, the weight on the shoulder was, you know, I brought I like to think I brought the transfer station up to a status that pleases everybody. So in order to maintain that, every once in a while, we have to juggle things around. So,
There's some are on leave. Are they coming back or?
they are coming back. Actually, one's coming back this Friday.
One's on vacation. Right?
Currently, but there's 2 employees out on leave. One of those employees that was out on leave is back. The other one, the return time is unknown at this moment.
They're doing a good job despite it being shorthanded.
Yeah,
I think the dumpster, the recycling center is run the best I've seen it run.
that's great.
They're doing a good job.
Glad to hear it.
I feel like this department is the department to do this with, like, you know, if town hall is under budget, like, it's hard for us to, you know, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of projects we're looking to do. Or a lot of other budgets, but with DPW, it's all over town. I've always said, it's like I get a lot of calls, I get a lot of emails, and they just all go to Bill. I mean, whether it's trees or whether it's driveways or, you know, aprons, or whether it's curbing, or whether it's endless, and there's always something to do, so.
I mean, I agree with you completely, right? And I think just to add on to that, right, I don't know where the new transfer station garage. I'm not sure what you called it, right? Something needs to be repaired down there.
So, we had a concept plan drawn up.
Yeah.
To, enlarge the storage garage and, fix up the building where the guys gather.
Right.
We're having a follow-up meeting next week. The quote came in huge, actually, so we're having a follow-up meeting next week to see what's going on there.
I see. More than anticipated.
Like 5 times more, no, I mean, a lot more, yes, more.
I see.
Yes, more. So, we're just having a meeting to discuss it. I mean, we gotta move forward with something, but yeah.
Would it be better to tear it down and do that duct building?
The structure, the garage, there's cement
Yeah.
is, concrete block, a lot of it.
A lot of it is concrete block. To be honest with you, I have suspicion that judging by what we had heard, that's what their plans are.
And we'll see, we'll
Yeah,
see.
I don't know if that's true, so.
We will report back. That's early stages.
The other question I had was, you were talking about, you could easily put in a lot more money into this department. We're putting in a lot of sidewalks between, various parts of the town. Right now, we're gonna be putting in a sidewalk from Dunkin' Donuts, Dairy Queen all the way to Westbrook, something like that.
That's all mostly grant money.
Understood,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, but the maintenance of that needs to be budgeted at some point, right? I mean, at some
The
point, those,
maintenance of that can be, so Bill's budget that is roads and sidewalks, and so if there are sidewalk repairs to be made, they can be made.
very good. Right,
Are we responsible for sidewalks even on Route 1?
On Route 1, yes.
We are.
Yep.
so motion made, seconded, we need a vote for this. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention?
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much. Thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Have a nice evening.
Are you driving this truck today?
No, the truck's gonna be there. Check it out.
I will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. So, we are moving forward. All the resumes are in with the police chief. I think it's public. There's 35. In East Lyme, they got 15. Not saying anything, but, very different departments, a lot going on over in East Lyme. So we are, now culling the 35 down to probably 10 to maybe a little bit more than 10 for the next phase. So we'll see where that goes. I'm not gonna say anything more about that. Excellent candidate pool. The consultant was like, you're doing something, not me, but the town is doing something right, because this is an unusually good field, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't think any of us are surprised. Couple things with, you probably, a lot of controversy about this House Bill 5002. We're gonna find out whether, that's the housing bill at the state level. We'll find out what the governor's gonna do. There's been a lot of meetings, I found out today, at the state level. The councils of government would have increased responsibility under the bill as written. And immediate increased responsibility, so they're meeting with the governor to try to there are contradictions in the bill, there are just things in the bill that are rubbing a lot of folks the wrong way. And so we will see what I have an answer probably by the end of this week, because he's 14 days to veto it, and I think we'll come up on May 14, probably by this Friday. So we're gonna have a resolution on that. I'm relatively confident that something will be done. let's see, probate court construction is moving along. I actually haven't been up there. I know they're working on it all the time. So that will be, maybe we'll have something to show, the Board of Finance in July. We'll go up there and take a look and show you what we've been doing. That is moving along. I know the judge is like ordering furniture and we are, putting in the new IT in what is now the building department. And the construction now is in the, fire marshal's office. I'm not gonna go into the, Mira, my final meeting with Mira is tomorrow. And honestly, there's no resolution on the Torrington transfer station. I believe we have resolution on the Essex transfer station. And that meeting tomorrow at 9:30, it's a public meeting, you can tune in if you like, is, going to be super interesting. And, there may, I'll report afterwards, some other time. I don't wanna predict what could come out of it. On the Dock and Dine property, I know very public, we're still, I said it at my meeting last week, we are waiting for a response from, the other side. We've sent documents back and forth a few times. We turn our documents around in like 24 to 48 hours and we hear nothing. And, it's been over a week, probably been closer to 2 weeks. I have quotes. I know that was one of the things, that, the public was asking for. I have reasonable quotes on repaving, installing a lawn and a, pavilion. So, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not confident of anything on this, to be honest with you. I don't know necessarily where it's going. We'll find out. Two more things. Celebrate Saybrook is this Sunday. I know we all know that. I'll be doing a lot of media over the next 2 days. I'll be on, doing a Zoom interview with Channel 8 tomorrow, and then in person in Hartford at 10 a.m. on Channel 3 with Nicole Nalepa and Scott Haney Friday at 10, and then in New Haven at 12:30 with another program on Friday. So those will be 2 shows we're doing. We're gonna be on the state website. It's gonna be, and the weather looks great. The weather is totally cleared out for our party, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a heck of a lot of fun. One final comment, Old Lyme had some budget issues this year where their budget was way up. And at the end of the day, they used some of their reserve funds to lower the mill rate. So they had a budget, and I'm bringing this up, apropos to our last conversation a couple weeks ago. They had a budget, and let's say the mill rate was gonna go from 25 to 30. They said, well, let's make the mill rate go from 25 to 28.5 instead of to 30. And what they did is they went to their rainy day fund, which was 31%.
Wow.
And took it down to 29%. And used reserves to offset their mill rate increase. And I had a meeting in New Haven last week, for Kerma, which, as you all know, is one of our insurers. And I was walking out of the meeting and I was talking to the first selectman in Thomaston, who was about to go to his 3rd referendum on the Thomaston budget. And I said, I said, Old Lyme just used reserves to lower their mill rate. I said, I don't know how you get out of that hole. And he goes, you don't. You just keep using the same amount from your fund balance every year. So if you're taking 250 this year, you better plan on taking 250 next year and 250 the year after that. Or you're gonna build it into the mill rate if you wanna get that 250 back. But Old Lyme's reserves are at 31%. I don't know if you read that.
No, I didn't see that.
So reserves are all over the map in the state of Connecticut, but I knew Old Lyme had a very high reserve. And that's one of the reasons they, I guess, chose to use it one way. they chose to use it, but they're offsetting their budget, so next year. I'm guessing that they will do the same thing, use the same amount of money. Because it's now a budget item, it's now in their budget. It's now a line item in their budget, essentially, it has to be. So,
How did it get to 31%?
because they built it up to 31% over the years.
So they would be taking surplus money because that wouldn't be an operational budget number.
Wait, say that again, John.
I said, where would they get the money if the state is targeting 17%?
The state isn't, the town of Old Saybrook is.
Oh, just as town of Old
So Moody's, if you go to Moody's, they would probably recommend 15 to 25%, I would say.
Okay.
They'd probably say 15 to 20. So Old Lyme over the years has probably had some surpluses. I'm not gonna comment on what they were. I don't know when they built it to 30%, whether it was in the last 20 years or if it was 50 years ago.
So they could have used surplus money
To do what?
to get the 31%?
Oh, sure, I'm sure they did.
Okay,
I mean,
I had to, yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
okay.
over the years, and I don't know if that happened a long time ago, or if it happened steadily over the last 40 years, you know? Anyway, I read it. We had talked about it, and it'll be something to watch for next year. So that's it. I don't mean to even spur on further conversation. I'm just,
In
it's a
a,
comment.
in a high interest rate environment, that 31%
It's making a lot of money.
making a ton of money.
Yeah, it sure is. Sure is, yeah. But you have to think they've been building that into their
Yeah.
budget as revenue too. So now they're lowering that
Yeah.
reserve and they might be making a little less money, a little bit
Yeah,
on their interest rate income.
they get killed, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of almost a double whammy, but.
Yeah.
Look, they're obviously in a very good financial position. If they have those kinds of reserves. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you. Were you gonna mention something about the Old Boston Post Road? You read it, like, that the house that got torn down?
Yep.
Oh,
We had a blight lien on it
I see.
and I negotiated it. It was a ridiculous, it was like 200,000. So I mean, I just wanted the house gone, right? So we negotiated it down. I'm not looking to tax people. Like the homeowner had to get out of that. He had a mortgage. And so in order to make this all go away and get a headache out of my, believe me, we negotiated the tax lien down. This isn't an income producing property for the town. So we negotiated it down to 20 grand. The house is gone. Everybody's happy.
Did it get sold to somebody?
Yes, so someone did buy it from the owners.
I see.
Yes.
And they're gonna build a house
I
there.
don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if they're gonna try to sell the lot or build a spec house or what. I have no idea.
When I drove by tonight to get to here, the fencing they had on it had a big sign that said for sale.
Yeah, they're probably trying to sell the lot. It's a half an acre.
Sure.
They'll sell it. I mean, I don't know what they want. I have no idea. It's good to see it gone.
Yeah.
Very good to see it gone. And
Okay, thank you, Carl. Comments from board members?
We're gonna be July, first.
Oh, yeah, what are you doing about
That's
that?
part of my most important task today.
Have you made a decision?
I think the decision actually belongs to Leanne and you, right? I mean, well, not to Leanne, if you.
We don't need a meeting on July 2nd.
No, we don't.
No, I will not have the financial reports ready,
Okay,
and there's no business that I know of. I mean, you took care of the business today that needed to be taken care of, so.
July
So
first.
July 1st.
July 1st.
But what about July 1st?
That's the Tuesday.
That's-
Oh,
Okay,
sorry, I
alright.
said the wrong date, yes.
July 1st, okay.
So we're
So,
canceling that one.
Well, it's still up to them to decide.
I make a motion, we cancel July first.
oh, we need a motion for this.
No, we're not actually-
No, you don't make it. It's,
I don't need a motion.
You don't need a
No,
motion.
we don't need a motion.
You don't need a motion.
Just 7.
We're gonna cancel the July first meeting.
Yes,
Thank you
we
very
are.
much. Before
I already
July.
have it.
George just makes an executive.
There we go, there you go.
So you guys gonna cancel it?
Yes.
Awesome.
Any other comments?
I'm deleting it right now.
Public comment.
No, nobody up there.
Nobody up there.
What a shame.
Comment from the chair, I did my job. We have to be- I think I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you very much.